Brian?
We're live. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, hello, hello. Giving it a second here just to make sure everything is okay and to let some folks enter the room. You know how it is. This is why musicals have those those not like before the opening number, you know, when the music's just playing, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Francis. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm joined here today by two wonderful people. Would you please introduce yourselves for our good crowd?
Yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to introduce Alex Waro. He's an editor type on Gamasutra.com.
Yeah.
And then Alex.
Mm-hmm.
You can introduce
Alex.
now.
Yeah, I would love to introduce our editor-in-chief and glorious leader, Chris Graft, who is wearing 2 pairs of headphones because that's how he rolls.
Yeah, that's how we're doing this today. We are playing today, as you probably haven't guessed by the paraphernalia on screen. We're playing Gears of War 4, and we are playing this.
We appreciate how heavy this locust is, just heaving and breathing.
This cog.
Yeah.
This man on.
Oh,
screen.
I've got a different one on my screen.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a cog.
Is there a cog?
It's a cog over here. It's a wonderful bearded cog.
Let's lay that out for the viewers because I have no idea quite. So what I'm seeing, because I'm not playing, is I think Brian's screen, which is what everyone's seeing.
Yeah.
And then Chris, you're going to play with him on the Xbox One, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Brian, you're on PC still?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah. This is a pretty laid back stream. No interview today. We just got our hands on Gears of War 4. And because it's been about 10 years since the first Gears of War came out, we wanted to swing back and see what's changed. Chris and I both played the prologue last night, and we're going to take you through kind of the first level today, which will be the first time for us too. So far, the answer is not much, but that's actually kind of interesting because let's see, maybe the changes will grow. It's hard to say a game hasn't changed when you just play the prologue. So let's see what happens when we jump in.
Doing it?
I'm ready.
Yep, we're loading. At our end, it's still that big bearded man.
Oh, I'm going to Act 1-1, the raid. Okay.
Yep, the raid. This should be where we both left off.
Okay.
I'm just going to lean back here.
While roadie running, hold L and tap B near cover to smoothly vault over.
Smoothly.
That is a classic traversal mechanism.
Yeah. So let's talk traversal.
Signature of Gears of War. I think that roadie run. I remember Cliff Bleszinski like in 2005 with the demo of the game and just talking about roadie run. And it is like a roadie run.
I'm not leaving ugly.
Do you remember what it means to be a roadie? Like I always wondered, and I never asked him, why do they call it a roadie run?
Probably because this is like a roadie running across the stage.
The wind's tearing everything apart.
Yeah, you're trying to stay out of sight.
Now what do we do?
You don't want the audience to know that
Shit, we gotta
your
get past
equipment
that
is being
Yeah, but how? There's no gate.
then
we gotta knock it down.
It's gonna be as discreet as possible.
What do we have to shoot here? Is there anything we have to shoot?
Oh, I got this.
Woo! Oh God! Chris! You just got.
So let's just set the stage here for a minute because you guys have dropped right into one of the year's big releases, and we have no idea what's going on. Whoa!
Yeah, sorry.
Chris just got me murdered.
Yeah.
So I think this game is notable because it's come out 10 years this year, like on the 10-year anniversary of the original Gears, right? Like 10 years ago, November 2006, like this franchise was born, and it had a significant influence on game design in the ensuing decade. And I have no idea really what's going on here. Like, are you guys playing as characters in the original game, or is that some kind of like spin-off? Like, what's going on?
No, these are new characters. Just a quick reminder, Alex, if you could just talk a little louder than normal.
Yeah, sure.
So these are, I'm playing the son of Marcus Phoenix, J.D. Phoenix or something.
Look out! I'm gonna blow these things.
Yeah, but how? There's no gate.
Got it. Let's get to the crane.
So these.
Find it, Glory.
Don't let him touch you.
So where do they stack up in the Halcyon lore? that is Gears of War. Like, I mentioned this is main character Mark's son,
Immediately
Brian.
dead?
So, like, bring me up to speed now that you're an expert on Gears of War on what's happening. Like, is this continuous to the old games? It's like a chapter in that universe? Like, is this a prequel? What's going on?
It's a sequel. This is after all the wars of the other Gears of War, and the prequel of the game.
It's after all the Gears of War.
All the wars.
In the prequel of the game, you relive some of the missions from the first game in the eyes of like random cogs who were there, and cogs being the soldiers wearing this like body armor.
Everyone okay?
So what we're not showing here that we got through, it maybe took like 30 minutes or so to get through the prologue for this game. That is a very muscular horse, and it sneezed all over that. So the prologue was kind of interesting. I actually played through 1 and 2, not all the way through 3, so I had a little catching up to do. But yeah, it just kind of recaps you through actually playing the game. So you have somebody who's speaking at some kind of big like military looking ceremony or something, and then there's like this happened and this happened, and then it flashes back to like all the things that happened leading up to and the end of the Emergence Day events. And if you know anything about the lore of Gears of War, you know that Emergence Day is when the monsters called the Locust. They come up from underground. They emerged, just like this.
Oh, I get it. I understand now. That's deep.
Cog settlements are built from the inside out, which means the fabricators in the construction hub at the center.
Or don't go ahead, Brian. I was gonna say what's interesting about this to me, you know, being a dabbler,
there hasn't been an outsider raid in
Gears of
6
War
months. We'll have the element of
franchise is that like. With such a small twist to the in-game lore, the designers, first Epic and now Coalition, like open up a lot of leeway for themselves to like create a totally like unrealistic game. Insofar as like these look like humans, but they're supposed to be on some other planet called Sarah, and they're not like we don't even know if they're humans or not. So, Chris, you were talking about at a GDC like a decade ago, Blizzky talked about how this is basically designed to be like a if you think of a side-scrolling platformer, like and look at it top-down, that's basically what Gears of War is sort of designed around.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
our only way in is down.
No. That's a good point.
2 weeks ago there was nothing here.
So at least with
the
original Gears of War, and I can already see it's a bit less so.
Probably speeds things up.
This one. Yeah, Cliff Bleszinski talked about the influence that 2D platformers had. You know, I mean, he's influenced by like pretty clearly, judging by his past work. But if you look at a Gears of War level from top down, and then you inverted that, you can see how each you see an actual
literal jazz jackrabbit.
No, but each of the barricades that you are like really nicely snapping against when you press A in Gears of War, those are platforms, but it's on a horizontal plane. As opposed to the vertical planes that you're familiar with side-scrolling 2D platformers. So it's just kind of neat to see how like a genre that doesn't appear to have any relationship to a cover-based shooter like this, you know, what that has, the kind of influence that has. Influences come from everywhere.
Will be fine. I think I know how to avoid watchers.
And what I was kind of meandering about earlier is that like by making this, by just saying this is like on a different planet with a different species, it's like not quite Earth, then they get away with being able to justify why these human-like characters can take tons and tons of damage and then duck behind something and heal up and be fine.
And then that also explains the muscular horses.
Horned horses.
Yeah. I like the muscularity of the horses.
Oh, are these robots? Are you guys fighting robots?
I think we're about to just kill some robots.
Nope. You know what? I appreciate the denim on these things. It gives a little bit of human feel.
No citizens here.
Seriously, I do. I like that the robots have denim.
What? Citizen implies we claim
How
allegiance
often they
to a
have to, like,
centralized authority.
refabricate
I think
them.
of myself as part of an anarcho-collective.
That is, like, not to get too technical, but that is the facial movement and the way those guys, that weird dude's mouth moving around the beard is really striking.
I don't think
And it reminds me that as we go into, like, as we compare to going to 2017 to close out 2016, right? Like, I was recently talking to somebody about the state of facial animation in video games, and like what they've the tech they've developed to do facial cap and stuff like this is like going to become hugely relevant in VR and AR. Like that's kind of far afield, so we don't have to go too far. But I find that fascinating. Like all the computer vision they've designed to like capture facial movements and create those animations is now like potentially used like next generation VR and AR game design, which is super interesting.
So they know we're here.
Yeah.
Smart guy. What now?
That's true.
No,
like,
no
although
plan.
I think we're gonna talk a
Fight our
little
way
bit
to
about
the
more like PlayStation VR later on, where I can talk about how I really like arcade type experiences in VR. But for example, what you were saying, Alex, about the faces. I need to yank this guy apparently. We gotta take cover.
Press X to yank.
I'm trying to figure where the heck you are.
Over here, come over here. Can you watch me? Yank, take cover.
Wait, where? Up here? Wait, I don't know where. Sorry, I got turned around. There you are.
That's okay.
Just imagine you're playing a top-down platformer.
All right. How about you get the guy on the right? I'll get the guy on the left.
All right, ready?
All right,
one, two, three. Yank.
Get over here!
Oh,
Team yank.
okay, I got him. Oh, what the?
We did it.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, that might have been the first dual yank in Okay. Okay, so the that was very pronounced, Alex, with the old facial stuff was in Batman. Yeah.
All right, we're clear.
I mean, I don't think that there's like that's one of the most high fidelity VR games that I've played, which is kind of surprising that it's on PlayStation VR and not some like high-end PC. But when the guy, spoilers incoming, but when the guy kills your parents when you are little Bruce Wayne, and he gets like right up in your face, I mean, that creeped me out because it was just so detailed, and the animation was see all the like muscles in his face moving around, and like his pores and stuff. So you know, you can't discount the effect that really well done facial animation, like how expressive that can be.
So, Runaways, what's it like
and I
being
was
on
so
the other side of these bombs?
I was so surprised, and we might have more
Miss
stories
your
on
old
this in the
friend?
future about how, like, basically the technology that firms are developing to do real-time motion capture for games, right? Like to be able to create, like, there was that Hellblade demo that went around that you can see in E3.
Hellblade or Hellboy?
No, Hellblade.
Okay.
I think it's.
I was like, what?
Hellblade. One of the tech firms working on that game was showing how they have they've finally been able to build a PC that can render, that can do facial capture with the camera, and render it into the game engine in real time, rather than having to sort of wait for the delay. And like that has huge implications for games like this, right?
Yeah.
For big studios that can afford to get that kind of stuff. But the guy I was talking to, who works for one of these companies, said it has a surprising implication for the future of VR and AR as well, because they've designed cameras that can look at people's faces and very quickly map them and you know, like interpret them through computer vision.
Yeah.
So when you get to the point where VR headsets are no longer just tracking your motion, but tracking your eye movements and eventually potentially your mouth movements through a camera built onto the headset, which is something this guy thinks is going to happen in the next like 2 or 3 years. They'll have full facial capture in VR.
So you're thinking we could be these characters instead of having them out there.
Well, I thought it was interesting. You can trace, if that happens in a couple of years, 5-10 years, you can trace that back to the faces you're looking at right now in a game.
Well,
like
even if you are,
like the technology used to make that animation is going to lead to the next generation of like VR and AR headsets.
People couldn't fight their way out of
And the tech company you're talking about, first of all, if listeners want to check it out, it's the Hellblade demo, and it was on at E3 and GDC, I think.
Yeah,
and the company is
That's one way to describe describe it?
Yeah, the company's
Not
Cubic
an accurate
Motion,
way,
right?
but
Was that it, Alex?
You nailed it.
Look alive! DB's incoming!
Oh,
You got
okay,
it.
I guess I can try that. Incoming!
Kick.
I like how they get pulled up. The cards.
I'm not doing this. Hang on, I'll just crawl my way back. I'm really bad at this. This is the first game we played in a while that I'm really bad at.
I'll help you, Alex. Oh, you got it. I mean, Ryan, whoever you are. I can't talk and play games.
I was like looking around, be like, what am I?
Yeah.
Especially YouTubers are so impressive. They just like can
Yeah.
just really talk and play games. Oh, I'm gonna do this.
So
That guy.
it's interesting to talk about what strikes you guys about this experience. Like, and if it's nothing, let me know. That also is very interesting. Like what is? As I watch you play, this seems like a totally well-made piece of game, and but like, it doesn't. It's hard to pick out sharp points, you know, rough edge and say, look, this is a unique thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a slight. I think that the Gears of War franchise drew so much from early 3D game design and then influenced the whole generation so deeply.
Yeah.
And now that there's effectively a new Gears out,
Back in the fight.
it looks very nice, but it's hard to be like, oh, this is a unique.
I think what strikes me is that this is still the only shooter I've played that feels so like the guns are like more interactive than other guns. Like the reloading mechanism is still like defining. But then you got everything from like the way you pick up ammo to the way you use the Lancer chainsaw things to like there's just this very big like you're constantly interacting with the firearm as you're like playing the game, which there might be more to unpack about that. Like I'm not a smart enough person about game design to like unpack about why a game should make the guns be interactive. But that is still to me what stands out about playing Gears of War is that like just the way my hand moves over the controller while trying to do this gun stuff.
Yeah, Chris, we were talking earlier. You had gone back to look at an early GDC talk, I think from Brzezinski, right? And he had mentioned something about designing for this concept of intimate violence.
Right. So yeah, sure, but I think that's what they're going for. Yeah. By the way, if you want to listen to that talk, it's a really good one. It's from GDC 2007. You can just Google
More DB.
Blazinski GDC iteration. I think where he talked about iteration process of making this game. So yeah, the intimate violence thing. He just kind of said it in passing, but you can tell that that's how a lot of the weapons were designed, particularly the signature chainsaw Lancer thing. Like before this game came out, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that there was any game that would just let you go up and then the whole camera shifts and then just gives you this cinematic view of you like sawing.
Well, it's rendered in the game and also like as you're playing.
Yeah.
Look,
so
the construction hub's just over that wall.
Yeah, I mean, like visually, that was very distinctive, and you know, play-wise,
we need a way around.
that's
let's head through the maternity annex.
A feeling that you just didn't get with like first-person shooters or like Unreal Tournament, which is another was another epic game.
With being told I need to have one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting. Like I suggest people check out that talk because
Best thing my mother did.
I think that people kind of see a game that is as tight as Gears of War 1, and
where do I sign up?
Perhaps they might not appreciate until like you hear the designer talk about it, how much iteration went into it.
Yeah.
So like Gears of War 1 started out as a vehicular combat game.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ideas actually ended up going into the next Unreal Tournament. I think it must have been 3.
Fabricators inside.
That maintenance access is our way
development.
In.
So, yeah. I could be completely wrong, but I think that's what it is.
So what are we waiting for? Let's get to that access.
That would make sense because there's a lot of vehicular like stuff there.
Yeah.
So
what's going on here? I was gonna actually comment on something we just heard the characters talk about, which is sadly unrelated to what you're talking about. I don't know this woman's name. But she's in our squad, and we are entering the maternity ward right now. And she was talking about how she doesn't like being here because, as I recall, in the early Gears games, I don't know why they went at lengths to explain this, but they did explain the reason there weren't women in the first Gears was that all the women were like literally like in maternity wards like this, like trying to keep the species alive.
Heads up, watch her.
It wasn't because they're harder to animate? No,
We're not done yet, come on.
That was wrong company. But yeah, I remember at the time people were like a little weirded out by it, and eventually by Gears 3, there were female cogs and female soldiers on the line, and it was like, and I know Gears, I actually know a lot of women who play Gears, so like that made them pretty happy. But like it's interesting that pretty early on in this game, they're bringing that back up only for a character in order to like introduce us to a character. I don't have a cut out of this, but like that's one of the ways the game's very interested in its own history. Like these characters are sort of adapting to everything that the first 3 Gears games were about. So maybe we'll see more of that as the game moves on. That's just a very early thing that the game is trying to signal, is that these characters are just so aware. Like it's very self-conscious, which is not a bad thing necessarily.
I'm gonna be honest with you. About half of your coaching insight broke up, but
oh, I'm sorry.
It's probably I'm sorry because we missed out on it. I'm sure it was illuminating.
How do you know it was cogent?
Because I work with Brian. I know his insights about the design.
Dialogue.
Yeah, and his strong opinions about games. Yeah. But you know what? You know, I didn't know about the conceit that women in the first years, females on Sarah, were somehow being placed in maternity wards. Because I never played it. I only played Gears.
Yeah.
That's kind of dark. Even for me, that's dark in a way that video games don't typically always explore.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting about that is that looking at this game now, this game doesn't seem very dark at all. Like literally, it's not very dark. It's very colorful.
Yeah, that's one thing that.
Way more very
yeah, having actual blueness. I mean, Gears of War, you know, is very influential, of course, and that was in 2006, and it really kicked off, or helped kick off, was part of this movement towards green. And it was just like, everything just became brown. Yeah. Brown shooters. Brown military shooters.
Yeah.
Very brown. But no, this is,
if we're talking about Gears of War, I guess we also have to talk about like the trailer for the first Gears, which was like really got a lot of people's attention at the time. And we actually just we quoted a Bloomberg news article this week. The original article by Maddie Myers, our own Alyssa McCune. Sorry,
Macklin.
You walked into that one, yeah.
Yeah, I walked into that one. And that robot, she quoted but Maddie interviewed Joseph Kaczynski, who I think directed
that goddamn fabricator.
He's the director of Tron Legacy, and he's like, so if that is him, and that's the ad in it, but it was an interesting piece on our site about making game trailers, and the first Gears trailer was certainly one that got a lot of his attention, because it was just Marcus Phoenix running through that space with Mad World playing, that cover of Mad World that we also saw in Donnie Darko. I guess green lights.
That definitely, I remember that, like, the shooter bro geek nerd in me was like, really freaked out over that commercial.
Deactivated our access codes.
Well, we are enemies of
so
the state.
cool how they
What?
mixed, like,
Cog didn't teach you how to hack a simple access
military shooter thing with that song. Which I think that was actually his idea.
Yeah.
Because
look, that's
I think he's like a Donnie Darko fan or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. Don't trust anything I say because it's making things up, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah.
I'm going
yeah,
too.
So the new one actually has a cover of Nothing Else Matters, I think.
Let's get this heist underway.
One moment.
It doesn't work.
No fabricator should be
Chris,
it doesn't work.
We're gonna pause for a moment. If we can hold here, unless there's fight breaks out.
Sure.
I just want to try and mess with the volume of sex so that people can hear us.
Oh, okay.
I'll just try to
volume missions.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try to enunciate.
Yeah, if you can turn your mic pickup up, maybe. I'm just trying to do anything I can to boost you guys because I just don't have the ability to turn this down.
It's a noble effort. My mic is at maximum gain, but I could just like stick it in my face. How's that?
That may help.
Terrible.
Oh, that's actually great.
Yeah.
Really? All right. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna. This isn't awkward at all.
How about this?
Audio settings, speakers. Okay. I'm just gonna turn.
What I think is so interesting about watching you guys play this is its story, right? So, and I mean, like, its development history. So this is developed by the Coalition up in, I think, Canada. Not at all by Epic. Microsoft bought the rights to Gears of War several years ago. And like, what's so interesting is the first 3 Gears were so defined by being, as you said, Chris, like dark and brown. You know, and they got some other colors near the end, like dark blue and dark like gunmetal, but that was kind of it. And this is such a stark contrast, and I sort of wonder like what does that do to like how does that shape the design? Because I also noticed you're fighting robots. You're not like cutting apart big bloody monsters.
We haven't.
And
I think there are bloody monsters later, if I recall from the gameplay preview. We're just still early on. So the monsters come back, but like I said, oh, sorry, Alex, did you have a question? Was there a question mark at the end of that? All right, I changed all the settings I could, so hopefully people can hear us better.
Okay, welcome to Card Control.
I can't see Twitch chat right now, so...
Yeah, Allegro Digital, thanks for pointing that out to us, but we're doing our best.
Yeah.
We're doing our best!
Yeah.
We'll just talk louder.
We'll talk as loud... I'll shove this microphone in my mouth.
We're very impressed at how bright and sprightly this gear is, at least I am. And I still think I think it's an interesting game design choice that the Coalition made. And that's especially interesting when you go back and read interviews with them, because before making this, they remade the original Gears of War.
Yeah.
And when you look at those interviews, like we had one last year with Rod Ferguson, who's like leading the studio, about how they basically like to train a new team to make a new Gears, they wanted to go back and like remake the original to see exactly why it works. And they've changed so much of the tone, at least in this opening segment, that I think I was not expecting that. I was expecting them to make another Gears, and it would be dark and sad and gory.
They did get some great voice talent for this game. I got Laura Bailey up there voicing her. She did a great job in Tales from the Borderlands. So the characters are a little more. We're all like way smaller than the original Gears characters. We're all kind of like look like normal human proportions. But we're also not armored up, so like the characters feel a little more.
Let's
I don't know. It's like
so like
maybe.
Sorry.
Like the big buff character design of like Marcus Phoenix and the Locust. That's not just like what the heck is going on? That's not just like something because they think it looks nice to have huge buff men and monsters. But it also helps. You're playing a shooter game with a gamepad, and it makes it a little bit more manageable to be shooting something, to get headshots when your enemy has a bigger body, bigger torso, a bigger head.
This is also about the multiplayer.
Yep.
Should do it. Go grab the fabricator.
Have you guys played much Gears multiplayer? Either now or ever? Because I never have.
Back on the PC port from People Can Fly back in the day. Oh, I guess we're going over here.
I played a lot of 1 and 2.
I think it's.
Sorry, go for it.
I think it's interesting that unlike many other big budget studios this year, it doesn't seem like the Coalition has put a lot of like PR money into trying to make Gears of War 4 an esport. Like that is something that so many studios are experimenting with, and this Gears of War at some point had a very vibrant multiplayer community.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be a tack they're taking, which I think is probably a good one.
Oh, this is fun. Chris and I are kind of. Yeah, we're kind of doing this.
Heavy lifting. This is a team lift.
Where are we going? Back to the elevator, I guess? Yeah. This is a fun little mechanic.
You guys would make terrible teamsters. There you go.
I feel like I'm back.
Not even wearing braces.
I feel like I'm back on set.
Move your camera around, Bryant, when you're pulling it. Oh,
wow.
it was. Oh, we're actually
Bryant,
roadies, I think.
Kate, get this thing moving.
You got
Bryant, you were almost a roadie. You were a PA. So how does this compare to real life?
Less
kind of
bullets.
Kind of rifle did you carry when you were a
when did you start taking showers?
What kind of heat did you pack?
That's dark.
That's a little too dark. Yeah. All right, this is weird.
It is. That's not dark. It's funny.
This like lets you make guns. What? Oh, between combat waves to... Oh god, are we gonna have to like...
Oh, you know what we're looking at here? This is the influence of horde mode and crafting stations on single-player game design.
And... Yep.
Oh my god.
They kicked me out of the system again.
Interesting. They introduced crafting.
Yeah. This is like a horde mode in the single player.
Which makes total sense.
Oh, look out, look out, look out! I'm just doing a lot of...
Nasher out.
I had to rebuild my Nasher because I had no ammo left when we started here.
And it's so interesting because you know I don't know that the original Gears of War
More trackers!
like, invented the idea and design of a horde mode, but it's certainly popular.
Yeah, I remember
now
after Gears got popular.
Right, and now
I played a lot of horde mode. That was fun in Gears 1 and 2.
And now a decade later, like younger players playing catch up and sort of like reintegrating that idea of design into the single player campaign.
I think I've been forgetting to pick up ammo.
Well, there hasn't been much ammo to pick up. So even ammo's a weird thing. And how like like I have been playing so much Overwatch that I forgot what it was like to have to use ammo, pick up ammo again. To like not just have it automatically pick up like it does even in games like Call of Duty. You have to like hold it and pick up ammo. If it's in that thing we were talking about earlier, but this game is so
You gotta be kidding me! Kate!
so interactive.
Hey, you're welcome to come up here and do this yourself!
Just hurry up and fix it!
Nice.
Let's see what it's like.
Shepard's incoming!
So to be clear, you are definitely easily murdering robots that don't bleed or in any way.
Yeah.
That's really a surprise.
I'm trying, it's not working!
That's good because I feel bad after watching Westworld.
Yeah.
Shooting humans for fun.
Yeah. I guess we can't quite talk about Westworld yet because our article hasn't run.
Yeah, we also don't want to do too many spoilers.
Yeah,
people
because
who
I
watch
don't think it's
this.
still caught up.
Well, I started watching it last night, but I was really tired and I fell
And
asleep.
you have children to take care of.
Like non-stop. I'm a wimp. So like one of the interesting little pieces of trivia about the iteration.
More
I'm buzzing?
incoming!
Yeah, you're a robot driving.
Hello? How's this? Oh, I think I know what it is. Am I okay now? Am I still a robot?
Yeah, you are definitely. If this is Westworld, you would definitely be a robot.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is weird.
Well, sort that out. I think what's interesting is as I watched you just hunker behind cover is that again, Chris, you mentioned earlier, like in his talk, Blazinski talked about how the original Gears of War like really was born out of the idea of making like a vehicular combat game, and only later was that idea totally scrapped, and it became sort of like a game all about taking cover and shooting over cover. Yeah, I'm still a robot. You're definitely still a robot.
Hang it. The combat should be.
Brian, you've been infiltrated. There's a robot on your side.
I'm bleeding out!
Chris, I'm heading your way.
Reloading!
We're not a robot, save the human.
Thank you.
Kate, what's going on up there?
Being that's not just what a robot would do.
Just give me a second!
He pretend to
Here,
help you.
let me try to not be a robot.
Sure
Sounds
thing.
good. Alright, Brian, protect Chris. Let him die.
Alright, Chris
All
needs
right.
help.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, no.
You sound better now.
I do?
You sound better.
I did the old unplug and plug it back in.
Timeless.
Yeah, so, oh my gosh, this robot
Yeah,
is
cracked my way back
No
in!
chill.
How about I get you
Must
out
have
of
had
here?
a
Say these days.
kind of special drive in him.
Oh, you're killing us down here.
Yeah, like one of the
Actually,
ideas
I'm doing the
during
opposite.
like when brainstorming, that was a bad idea. When Blazinski was giving that GDC
Need
talk,
help?
shortly after the release of Gears of War 1, was that he said that there was this mechanic that they were thinking about where you're just watching would actually get kind of like PTSD out on the battlefield, actually kill themselves on the battlefield. Oops. Of course, that was cut out. Speaking of dark.
Yeah, I wonder how that would even work. Like, would you have to like make a meter?
Yeah.
Like a PTSD meter.
Yeah, it's basically it. So like it's interesting though, because as you know, this definitely has like kind of like the shooter you know, lots of like testosterone type thing going. They really like Blazinski kind of started this series off with the goal of conveying a lot of different themes, and you know, like mixing that in with all this like ultra-violent type shooter gameplay. I mean, there's things. I'm sure you could find it online where he's talked openly about how one of the levels in the original was influenced by the passing of his father.
Close the security doors.
I think it was
I'm trying. It's not working.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So like. It's kind of interesting, just like to me, just how trying to, you know, it's in some ways more successful than others, convey like ideas that are beyond we have to save the planet.
Yeah, I think a very cool thing is when game design, even like if a little, even when games like don't have the ability to drop the theme in entire, even when they don't have the ability to like put it in the entire every ounce of the game, is when they still try to like say this level's about something. And it's just for a second. DMC was a game I loved that did that really well. Like it wasn't about the things that its levels would be about, but like it made the levels interesting in that like, you know, you've got that entire Fox News mocking level that was just so full of like crazy bonkers stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally know what you mean with that game. It was it was kind of like one's internal struggle. They were trying to convey that in interesting ways.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like you're really limited when you know, in doing that kind of thing, when you're trying to adhere to the tropes and expectations of like a big budget AAA action game. So I'm not saying that these are like ideal examples by any means. Of conveying themes through gameplay. But
raise the case for cover.
For being a big mass market game, I appreciate that the division.
Hey, what's going on up there?
I'm working around this lockdown. Just give me a second.
Yeah, it reminds me of 2 years ago or something. Right when Blazinski was getting ready to start talking about his work at his new studio, where they worked on Lawbreakers, he was doing an interview with us, I think Lee Alexander, and he said like, you know, I'm worried that I'll never be miserable enough to create something compelling again. Like he pointed out that he made the original. Yeah, he made the original Gears like right after a bad relationship. Dad had passed away. And I guess all of those things he felt really fed into this game's design in a way that he wasn't sure would ever be replicable if he was happy.
Actually, I'm doing the opposite.
Kind of a bummer.
It's a bummer, and that's how a lot of artists feel like, because you know, some of their best work, or at least what people consider their best work, it happens at these like moments of just really high stress and maybe like even depression.
Wait, whoa! Hey! Stop!
And then like at the same time, you also notice like when your favorite band, they start making money, and then their music just starts sucking.
They get okay with
like they're not sad and angry anymore.
Sold out.
Yeah, and then like so I think that's a common thing among creators for that to happen. So, he was really candid. That's good. That was a good interview. Sure, you could use the Google to find that. But that was post Gears.
Yeah. They had sold the franchise. Working on something. That was like when he had left games for a bit in the public, but was clearly getting ready to come back.
Yeah, I remember I worked for I was working for Jason Hall at that time, and he was like, I think around that time, like, Cliff was like, yeah, but he's really like figuring out what because he was getting some like, little snippets of that because Jason and Cliff were friends. So he was like,
There really is a hand.
Yeah, and talking about like the strange balance of being creative, like whether in game design or anywhere else, but you know, still mostly in games. I think not only do game designers, anyone who works as a developer, a creative part of the process, like worry that being happy and content will like kind of like, I don't want to say hurt their work, but like kind of water it down and make it not as interesting. And I think a lot of creators, game developers, are concerned that if they have some kind of like mental hang-up or mental illness, like if they have depression or anxiety or bipolar disorder, like they're actually afraid to seek help for that because they're afraid that part of that, like that helps drive their creativity.
Yeah.
And I think I want to bring that up. Like that's not at all what Blazinski was saying, so I don't want to. But it just reminds me of that insofar as like I think a year or so ago I did, or I guess it was this year, I did a bunch of interviews with devs who deal with chronic illness, and one of them talked about how he had avoided seeking help for his own depression and mental health issues because he was afraid it would impact his work as a game maker. And he encouraged fellow game makers not to do that, to go out and find someone to talk to and get help and seek treatment. And I just wanted to bring that up because like that really stood out to me. I've seen a lot of people, both game developers and artists and music makers, express similar feelings, and like that's probably not like the way to go about.
Yeah, we're back on the roadie mode here.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how they like have to take little steps.
Hey, you remember what you told Rain about getting a
I wonder if they had to mocap this, like two guys carrying a giant box.
In and out, simple job.
Taking little baby steps.
Yeah.
That means it can only get easier from here, right?
Yeah,
Get back to Oscar.
we've got about
a
little more than 15 minutes left here, and we can still keep on talking about things with Gears of War and the franchise and stuff, but there are some things that happened this week.
Hi.
News-wise.
Lieutenant.
And oh my goodness.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
First Minister Jin.
Hi.
That's what I want to be.
Enough foolishness.
That's what I want to be.
You're coming with us.
You want to be a little robot with
point.
that face?
Those are
I just
new.
want to be like a
And they're armed.
They got the face hologram down, but they
Unlike YouTube,
oh, it's not even a hologram.
they
It's like
actually
a rear
This is
screen
actually
projector.
pretty realistic.
What is this? You look
Like
pretty
drawing
good.
the robot. This is like what you see in like
highly
airports. With those
successful
weird holograms
operation.
they won't try.
It's now our
Yeah,
most
it's like on an old rear screen projector
Look, our
TV.
village hasn't
So,
had power in weeks.
like,
We
do you
need
think that
this
if she held
fabricator.
the same facial expression for too long, it would burn into the screen?
Don't forget, I know what you were trained to do.
Alright, that's pretty good.
That
Not at all like Gears of War.
No
like,
clue.
that's very.
Yeah,
But we need to get out of here.
Comedy.
That's like Mean Girls.
It's just like Mean Girls. It's probably inspired by Mean Girls. We should ask.
Remember that at the end?
That's
the best part of that movie.
Sorry I left you
I will point out that before this level started,
Turns
someone
out it was
watching
safer
us through the
inside.
drones. So there's definitely someone doing this. That wasn't just like
We're really getting into that
the
thing.
villains were being
We
so
are, but
idiotic
feel
they
free
stood
to
in the
stay
path
if
of
you
an
like.
oncoming train. So someone is trying to help us here, but I don't know who. Probably Dad Phoenix. No, maybe not. Maybe Grandpa Phoenix? I don't know if he died. That was an oddly realistic looking plane.
It is kind of interesting that so far from what little I've seen of you guys playing, it's setting you up to be heroes in like a scrappy band who are fighting against like the authoritarian like Panopticon.
Yeah.
That's very timely.
There is really like this is very not a Brown game.
No.
Okay, you two, watch the fabricator. We'll take care of our new friend.
Yeah. So this week, like I was saying before, the projector TV got hit by a train. I am completely out of ammo. Also, PlayStation VR that releases this week. That's what they're going to talk about.
This guy is everything.
Yeah.
But a lot of people.
So Chris Kraft as Gamasutra's PlayStation VR expert. What's your report from like, what should devs know about PSVR?
Please don't make me grow up. That's one of my big things. So, if you've read any of my stuff I write about VR, you'll know that I get like pretty motion sick, like pretty easily. I can be like in the back of a car and someone's braking, the cab driver, whoever's braking too much, and I can get a little like bleh.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind when I'm talking about VR motion sickness. But there are definitely some games that really, it's like they're just trying to make people sick. For example, well, Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, you are on train tracks, going through a scary kind of carnival type thing with scary clowns.
Yeah. That game confuses me because isn't that like a choice-driven narrative game? Like the original.
I did not play enough to really find out.
I believe you're right, Brian.
Yeah, like man, I'm getting blown up. But yeah, so as soon as the VR game got on the track and it went down a hill, yeah, it accelerated you, which is
Take care of the fabricator. Del and I got points.
Oh yeah. It accelerates you, which is a huge no-no for VR, let alone just like sitting there and having a vehicle move you.
So you really did save me.
So that I just like took off my
headset.
And I was just like,
record mode again.
Yeah. But so I've been pretty critical about, for example, how Oculus. They shipped with just a gamepad. Critical of Sony VR with just a gamepad because I feel like that kind of hardware configuration it lends itself more to or encourages developers to break some of the known rules of motion sickness, of player comfort. And like for example, throwing them down a roller coaster. That's going to make a lot of people sick. Or like putting them in an elevator and the elevator just starts moving down. That's going to make people feel crappy.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that is because of the fact that it doesn't support games that don't support room scale that are kind of gamepad based. Are kind of risky to do because once your eyes start seeing something that your inner ear does not agree with, that's the bark zone. That is definitely you're walking into the bark zone right there. Now that said, the sit-down gamepad games that work for me, I'm really surprised about because if you were just watching, they're pretty intense. So there's thumping, which you're on tracks. But the thing with that game, it doesn't accelerate you, I think. And there's also a little beetle. If you're familiar with that game, that silver beetle that is right in front of you, that your eyes and brain use as a reference point. Oh, I'll help you. So it doesn't like I don't get sick.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised about. Same with Rez. At least so far. Rez and having a lot of fun with that. And that's another like sit down gamepad arcade experience.
Yeah.
And Super Hypercube, which is like having you move forward throughout the whole game and kind of manipulating this cube-based puzzle piece. I don't have a problem with that either. So like, I'm glad that there are games that just use the game that don't make me feel crummy.
Yeah, it's interesting that those games, what you described, they're all pretty, they're very, very abstract.
I really appreciate that because right now, like with Vive, you are basically a human shape. At the very least. And that works well, and it makes sense because Vive is a room scale system. So with like Thumper, Super Hypercube, and Rez, it's more like you are like you're melding your eyes and your brain with an arcade cabinet. That's like how I feel like, and I really, I just want to be fused. I just want to be fused with an arcade.
It'll be interesting if the PlayStation 1 is doing better. That and how do you like Wayward Skies?
All right, big guy.
I've only played a little bit of it, but it seems interesting. I really like those kinds of games where you're just kind of like a large type figure overlooking kind of. Holy cow! What happened? Oh, they got more robots. You're just kind of looking down on kind of like a tabletop, and you're observing and manipulating the different pieces of the game. So Wayward is kind of like a point and click.
I do wonder if that'll be what PS3 wants to be better for, even if they want to advertise shooter things and stuff. If it wants to be better for abstract things, for point and click, which I think is fine, but that's like kind of what I'm thinking about VR in general. Is VR, even though everyone's trying to make shooters in VR, that's what's popular in general. So I wonder if like softer, more abstract things will want to be.
Yeah, I mean the sit down, look in one direction games are the games that I think that PlayStation VR could do very well in. Certainly not room scale stuff, because you have issues with limited range and tracking with the PlayStation camera. You only have one in front of you, so you can't turn around. As soon as those move controllers fall out of sight from the camera, then there's no more tracking. So that's a major issue, and it's an issue with the Oculus right now. It shipped with one as well.
So, Steam Dev Days happened this week, and they're showing off a new Vive controller there, aren't we? Alex, you saw a video of that yesterday.
Yeah, I can report from the field, from the internet, to say that someone else on the internet posted some vines of this controller. I don't actually have. I think it's interesting. It is newsworthy, I think, and people should know that Vive and Valve are working, or Vive and Valve, HTC and Valve, or maybe it's just Valve, I don't know, are building some kind of hand sensing controller that's very much akin to Oculus Touch controllers, which ship later this year. And that's super interesting because, like, these controllers give you some limited sense of hand presence, insofar as like. And I've used touch, and you can sort of like, you can move your fingers around within this sensing, this ring studded with sensors, and you can sort of see your avatar's hands in VR, like kind of robotic spasm in time with how you're moving your hands, which is it's just not realistic, but it definitely makes you feel more like you're there than if you're just kind of like waving around to like awkward meat puppet hand wands.
I like my Vive meat puppet hands.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, go ahead. I just had to interject.
No, I mean that's what's super. That is the limit to what we know about that prototype so far. There are a lot of devs coming back from Dev Days this week and this weekend that actually got to use it. We did not. But it is interesting that, like, I think last year at Gamescom, I was talking to somebody at Oculus, maybe it was Brendan or Nate, about hand presence, and they gave me a hard sell. They're like, this is huge. Because not only is it significant that players can see their fingers move, like insofar as they can use fingers as input, right, in a game in a way that you can reach out and tap things or pick up things with your fingers. But like just seeing your fingers move makes you feel more immersed in the space. And I didn't really believe it. Like, I was like, all right, say so. But the fact that Valve is trying the same thing leads me to believe that there's some way to it. And that's a very interesting direction for VR to take. I don't know that PlayStation VR will be able to feel something like that, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I like hand controllers a lot in VR, so I hope it stays up.
Yeah. I mean, I got no problem with hand controllers. Anything unless you make finger gestures in virtual reality, I'm all about it. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but not. You know, I think there's a lot more going on in VR than we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. What I think is interesting about PSVR is, Chris, everything you talked about really enjoying and appreciating and not at all getting sick during, there seem to be short experiences. Is that on point? Like, do you actually like?
Right. I mean, it's as long as, you know, it's like an arcade game. Like last night I played Hunter and I played through one level, but I played for like an hour. So it's not like yeah, I mean the games that I'm playing and enjoying, like I can sit down like and just play them as long as I want. But there are like longer experiences like happening in VR. I don't know. Maybe are you thinking of like kind of shorter story, like when you're talking about story stuff, like Batman VR? That's only like an hour long.
Well, I'm sort of generally thinking about what works well. That seems to be the enduring question, right? Like what every developer is trying to figure out right this moment when I was watching the stream is like what works in VR, and it's probably not Gears of War 5 or 6, but you know, maybe it is. But it sounded like when we were talking about this earlier that the VR experiences you enjoy are like seem to be designed to be played in 10 to 20 minutes. And I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that the question about the length of game in VR, it's kind of, it just depends on the game. I mean, if you've got like a room scale VR game where you're going to be jumping all over the place, are you going to be playing that for 4 hours straight on a Saturday morning or something? Probably not. I don't think that there's necessarily something like as specific as this genre works well over long periods and this one doesn't.
Yeah.
It just kind of it just kind of depends on the game, I guess. That is my very vague quote-unquote answer to that. But like if you're in a comfortable position, it's a comfortable game from a Noxia standpoint. I could play Thumper for a couple hours, and on top of that, like the PlayStation VR headset is definitely the most comfortable out right now.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference. For as much as
I'll be right there.
I was like, yeah, well, I saw that happen. I was like, oh no, Chris is dead.
Yeah. Like for as much emphasis when I talked to Oculus about like, how much they put on the comfort of it. Comfort. The Sony one, I mean, the PlayStation one blows it away. It's lighter.
How Jin's bots found Chuz?
It doesn't have the Mohawk headband going down the middle.
You can take care of it.
And it doesn't have like the spongy thing that goes up against your eyes. Thank goodness. You know, if you're going to be attending any VR booths for demos or anything. Get like everyone's sweat in the conference on your face.
Congratulations!
So
you managed to
yeah,
get the fabricator most of the way
I think that it just depends on, you know, if you want to make a game that in VR that people are going to play for a long time, you have to take into consideration their actual physical, you know, like
comfort,
attitude and
well,
space
now
and
we
comfort.
use that crane to lower us a path out of here. Easy.
Yeah. So we're about out of time here.
Yeah, it's a good place to
let's
shut
go back
down.
to this. Let's go back to this game real quick. We've been dragging this.
Gotta be a way to lower it.
Is this like some kind of old
fabricator
record player?
It makes things.
Okay.
You put points in and guns come out. Look at it. Look at this thing. This is pretty cool.
I just kind of been carrying it around with you and talking. I haven't really been.
Yeah, have you interacted with it? You make guns with it.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Walk up and hit X. You can make a gun.
Dang it! I've been missing out on that this whole
let's
time.
drop this thing.
I know, right? It's how I've actually got to use the gun I wanted to use, because the ammo, which is a big change to the flow of the ammo stuff.
You know, given how many gears and stuff they got going on inside there, I think they could put wheels on the bottom of that so you wouldn't have to carry it everywhere.
Yeah, like pop-up wheels and stuff, like so you could just roll it like a suitcase. Although I would like to say, given the gears in there and the gears out here, these are truly the gears of war.
Oh, that's definitely a good place to stop.
Yep,
Shut
that's
it down.
All right.
We're done.
Okay,
weekend,
thanks
everybody.
Mic drop. I'm
Chris
Brian.
Graff,
This is Chris. This is Alex.
Gamasutra. All right.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye.